with each other while that was playing. Well, the Edge is here, which is a bonus. Bono is promised. Hello, boys.
Hello.
And the Edge, well, said to me, who is that? That sounds good. So if it's immaterial or listening, there you go. That was a track called Rake. Now, the thing is, I've got a pile of mail. You haven't seen it all. There's some behind that turntable over there. There's some on the floor underneath me, and there's some on this ledge up here. And it's the listeners' questions to you tonight, because we had this chat on the telephone, Bono and I, a couple of weeks ago. But the Edge is here as well. And there's a lot of duplication, as you can well imagine. And the first question I have to ask both of you, and because the Edge is here especially, because people wanted to know, you can see this question coming a mile away. Can you hear it coming? All right.
Yeah.
Where did you pick it up then?
It's his fault.
Why? Why did you start calling him the Edge?
He woke up one morning and there it was on the tip of his tongue. And it's stuck ever since. I think we always had sort of nicknames when we were younger, and I suppose it's a measure of the name that it's been with me since, you know.
Yeah, but what it's a term of affection, though. I mean, it was a conscious decision to allow something which is very close, which was the group that we were involved with, kind of the people they used to call us these names. It was a conscious decision to allow people that we didn't know, but we were hoping to know through the music, I suppose, our audience to be in on this. And so it is a term of affection, and I mean, some people say it's because he's on the border between something and nothing, but I'd say he doesn't like that one. I say it's down to his chin.
I think at the time I was going through a very sort of mellow period, and
the mellow period.
Mellow fellow.
Bono thought I was particularly on the edge, and one day I threw my guitar at him, and I think that freaked him so much that it just was the guitar.
He's a gentleman, and I mean, I've been in the group many years now, and I still can't figure him out.
So people call, what do you call him then? The Edge? You call Edge? I
call him a lot of things, but maybe I shouldn't say now, but usually it's just the Edge. It's actually the Edge, yeah.
Edge.
That's what his mother calls him. I mean, we even call his mother Mrs. Edge. She responds to that. She's a lovely woman.
Let's go to some of these letters. Now, the first letter is from Caroline Stalker. I'll get through these as quickly as I can. She writes from Wellsway, Bath and Avon. And she wants to know, firstly, how long did War, which is the new album we're featuring tonight, take to record, and did you write all the lyrics? Now, and most of these questions, The Edge, are addressed to Bono, because he was billed, so the fact that you're here is a bonus. So, how long did War take to record? Because it is a long time coming.
It took us all our lives, I think, in a way. But the actual recording took us about 7 weeks. Scheduled for about 5, and we just knew it wasn't ready after that time, so we just kept going. And it took a lot out of us. It really did. It didn't come easy. I don't think good things do come easy.
Yeah, it was a nightmare to make. And
but why should it have been a nightmare?
Because if you're, I mean, with you two, maybe different from a lot of groups, but we really try to put our life into the music, and we give ourselves 100% to what we're doing. It's not like a group where we're just adopting a stance, a fashionable stance, and singing about it or humming about it or saying nothing. We're writing about what's going on around us, in us, you know. And sometimes when I'm singing, I find out things inside myself that I didn't even know were there. So there's an awful lot on the line. A lot of the songs in War were written on the microphone. I mean, actually, the structure of the music would be there, but I would improvise, you know, on the microphone as to what I was feeling, and that can be a pressure. I feel that War was worth its 7 weeks, but I think Edge answered correctly when he said it took us all our lives, which is an interesting way of putting it.
But you're both really positive about this album, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it certainly has all the former positive aspects that both Boy and October had. I think it's a realistic album. It's a very impassioned album. Obviously, with a title like War, you don't expect sort of non-committal music, but there is no kind of overall darkness or gloom to it.
No way. No, War is a slap in the face for all this snap, crackle and pop music. As I think I said to you the last time I was speaking to you, it is a slap in the face. We find ourselves angry with the kind of the nonchalance of music at present, and but it would be wrong to make a sort of funeral march music or War. It's realistic. It takes on the friction that's in the city. It takes on a lot of other aspects. But I'm in love, and that record has a lot of love on it. There's a strength to the record. When people finish listening to it, I think that's the fruits you can tell after people finish listening to it. They're not going to lie down. You know, our music doesn't have the effect of making people lie down in it. It makes them want to get up, makes them want to fight back against whatever they're maybe their situation is.
Makes them want to write letters into radio stations.
And there's a lot of people outside. You know, we just managed to get out of the car, and outside there's so many people, and really want to play this next song for them. You know, because they're out in the cold. They may not even hear this, but, you know, it's great. It's great to see them.
You're thinking of them. All right, then U2 from the album War, Sunday Bloody Sunday from U2. And we're told in the studio that there's some really weird reverberations, really some low notes going on that record. In fact, I can hear it in my headphones now as I'm talking. Some funny sort of humming in the studio. Is that you doing that, Bono?
Yeah, I'm not humming, no. We made the record very different to the way I'm hearing. Still sounds good. I really like it.
Actually, you were talking during the record while we were sort of between the humming, which is our technical people are now working on at this moment. But The Edge was saying that you picked up a street musician, literally in the streets in Dublin, to provide the accompaniment for that.
Well, we were sort of going through a period at home when we were just writing the album. And I was getting the bus home one night, which I tend to do when I want some time just to think. I was standing at the bus stop and I had one foot on the bus when this guy ran up to me, grabbed me by the arm and said, "I play electric violin. Are you looking for a violin player for the album?" And I said, yeah. Actually, we were thinking about getting some musicians in. So I gave him the name of the studio and he came down. And it turned out that he had been traveling Europe, playing in bar bands or
jazz and street jazz,
all sorts of things. He was really
Steve
good.
Wickham,
and we used him on about 3 of the tracks on the album, Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Drowning Man. It was, yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, what about all the time you spent in America last year? Were you not concerned at all that your music might have in some way blended out because of that? Because, you're totally surrounded in America. A lot of the radio plays very innocuous music.
I agree. We did, though. That's the funny thing. We spent some time at the beginning of the year in America, but some people probably wouldn't realize that, in fact, what we were doing this year was sitting back and not doing the kind of usual things that bands must do, i.e. release albums and tour and kind of lose sight of what they really want to say. We said to ourselves, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to sit back. We're going to actually discover what we want to do. And I think War is the fruit of that period where we actually said no to a few tours and to a few things.
Maybe War is a reaction against what you're actually pointing out, which is true. Very innocuous, very bland music on the airwaves in America. That's precisely the reason why we went there. Because to play live so that people could see us face to face, to drag these radio programmers down at the scruff of the neck half the time and show them 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people.
But did it work?
Depending on the city. You bet it worked. And as we speak, New Year's Day is the most added record on all the stations in America, on FM radio. In fact, there's a term which we had to laugh about earlier on. Somebody was saying, you may know this term, it's called closeout. Have you heard about this?
No.
Well, they're great with jargon, the Americans.
Sure.
And they have this term, usually applies to Beatles records or Who records, whatever. When the guy's on the phone, he says, how's the record doing? And they say, it's great. And he says, how many weeks till close out? And what he means is, how many weeks until every station in America is playing this record? And it will be next week, I think, we will have reached what they call close out.
Close out for station.
I find it quite silly myself, but it's still good that they're playing the record.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, I was just going to add that the funny part about that is that we actually haven't released anything in the States since October, and it's just gone straight in. I think you can read into that we haven't kind of had to go out there and flog ourselves to death. We've maintained the respect of the people, and not only in the business, but the people who buy our records, and that has counted. It's counted in this country as well, where U2, the name, has that respect, and people are prepared to now buy the record, buy the single New Year's Day, and it's great.
I want to say hello to Anita Cunliffe now, because I've got to go back to these listeners' letters, because some of them are so good. Wordsworth Road, High Wycombe in Bucks, and wants to know if you've considered releasing a live album at all. This is another question that comes up in letters. Anita says the live B-side of singles are fantastic, but can we have more of this?
Yeah, we put out this idea as to kind of avoid bootlegs. There's been a lot of YouTube bootlegs, and to avoid that, we put every sort of alternate single, we like to put live tracks of past material, so that people can make up a tape then of all the live singles. They actually virtually have a concert if they collect all our singles. And I don't think at the time is right for us to do a live LP yet. I think there may be a time to do a live recording, because you two are a live band. The point you were making earlier, you know, this is not a band that hides behind its haircut. It's out there. And I think that might be an important step.
Okay.
Who asked that question? What was her name?
Anita also says to you, Bono, do you feel your attitude towards U2's music has changed at all since you married Ali in August? Well, you did say there was a lot of love in this record, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe I'm in love. That has changed a lot of things. I never thought I'd be that. You know, I never thought I'd have the kind of carpet taken from under me. You know, I'm always the guy who fights against that. But, for me, my relationship with Ali is it's changed. It has changed me, and has changed the music. Maybe it's made me more positive. I mean, maybe it's made me feel a lot warmer. I think the music's very warm. I do think that. The title, War, I know that, but I still think it's very warm. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's a true observation.
Has he changed then, the Edge?
I think the sort of lyrical angle has certainly changed. The word love comes up a lot, though not in a sort of obvious context.
Yes.
You can really read into what somebody is thinking from what they just write down, and that's true of Bono, that he doesn't write lyrics that he's thinking about in a sort of very conscious way. He writes really what is deep down, and so you can kind of almost get an insight into him and what he is, where he's at, to kind of phrase, like,
hey man,
at the moment.
All right, what about this track, Seconds? What can you tell us about this?
Edge's singing, which is remarkable in itself.
Yeah,
he reckons he sounds like Barbara Dixon, by the way, but I think he sounds like
I'm not keen
Edge.
on my voice, to be honest, but I think the thing that this song is, which hasn't particularly been shown through other tracks on our albums, is the sort of tongue-in-cheek humour which we have as well.
Yeah, it's half, you know, it is a serious song, but we're not taking it too seriously. I mean, it could be called Do the Atomic Bomb, and has references to the sort of the nuclear predicament, but it's much more than that. Also, we taped a documentary about I think it was girls in the US Army. It was unbelievable to see these girls being wound up where they were saying, I'm going to be an airborne ranger. I'm going to live the life of danger. They're chanting away. And kill, and all this. And we thought, wow, they're winding these ladies up to doing this. And then there was another part of the program where this Sergeant Major was talking about, like, how he's been stripped of everything, been made into a killing machine. And I thought, wow, this is heavy, but very interesting. And we taped it. And so in the right-hand speaker, we have the girls chanting away. And in the left, we have this sergeant. It's just for a few seconds in the center of the song.
All right. Well, let's listen carefully then. You two from War, this is Seconds. Hello to everybody at Manchester University from Alison then. Wants to know what opinions Bono holds. Does he have any inclinations towards the anti-nuclear campaign at all? And if so, does this have anything to do with his belief in God?
I think anyone with any sense has inclinations towards the anti-nuclear movement. It wouldn't be right for me to particularly preach about it. Likewise, you know, I have a personal belief in God, which I don't also like to talk about, you know, readily. I can't explain it myself, so it probably comes out best in the songs. Yeah, I think so. I think it's very important that people actually make a stand. One thing that does puzzle me is that, you know, it seems very much that our youth culture has been divided into little segments. People are saying, well, I'm a punk, or I'm a mod, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. And so they're all divided into little pockets and groups. And like this, they're not much use in actually telling the government or people how they feel, because they're too busy arguing amongst themselves. So I'd like to see a change in that. You know, I think music should break down barriers, not build them up.
Well, that's what Jimmy Percy tried to do with his single, of course, If the Kids Are United.
Yeah, a lot of people have tried it, but you know, I like Jimmy Percy, and I hope he can break through that. But I think a lot of the similar, like there was the thing, the Sham Army with Jimmy Percy, so he fell into that trap himself. I think that's why he wrote the song. I think at a U2 concert we have succeeded. One of the things we've succeeded at is breaking down those barriers. There are many, many different types of people at the concerts. And I think that would be a first step if people united.
Yeah.
And then they could start talking about saying, yes, we do want to think about what it's going to be like to live in England or Ireland in 20 years' time.
Okay, Alison Kitley says, P.S. saw you at Greenbelt and Apollo in Manchester, 82. Great. Another letter here, which touches on religion, is Louise, who writes from Halesville in West Midlands, and wants to know why you have said you have no time for religion as such, although you have a deep belief in God. So without getting into it too much, I mean, is that just the organization, or what?
Well, religion has cut our country in two, as I said before. For me, if people, who are fighting and arguing about religion, if they went back to the root of the religion, if they went back to the heart of that, I think they'd find a bit of a contrast between that and Jesus Christ. And I say it just seems like a lot of rubbish to me. So I just, I keep myself to myself, and for me it's a great thing of joy. And religion seems a bit too somber for me.
Okay, so we're talking about Pete Wiley now. The conversation has moved on slightly. That was the second of our three of the best.
We love him.
It's prompted by David Edwards of Feltham in Middlesex, who says, "Dear David, please ask Bono how he feels about his old mate Pete Wiley's sudden rise to pop stardom." How did you first meet Pete Wiley then?
How did I first meet him? It's we played actually with Wah Heat, they were called then, in Manchester, in the Polytechnic, and we met him. People said that he was a faster talker than I was, but the reason for that was that he didn't pause for breath. He's an amazing guy. We saw in his music something that we related to, which was this spirit of, a spirit of just smashing the guitar chords. This, the great groups. He is.
Yeah, he has a certain vitality which cuts through the sort of present feeling of apathy, which I sort of detect in a lot of music, and it's great to see a character like him coming through finally.
His family always arrived down at our concerts. Like the last time we were playing Liverpool, the Royal Court, there was a knock at the door, and it was, Pete will be down later. And it was Pete's younger brother, who's an amazing guy as well. I think he's in the band too. He's
Come in Tokyo, is that?
That
Wiley. Yeah.
They're great. I mean,
they're everywhere, like the Chegwin family. Ian Dodsworth wants to find out. I'll put this one to the edge. If it's possible to get recordings of songs by U2 from pre-Boy period. Ian says, I have copies of tracks such as Magic Carpet, Trevor, Speed of Life, Cartoon World, and Heed the Child, but the recording is poor quality. Please say hello to everyone at Leeds University. Looking forward to seeing you too.
Yeah, they're kind of prehistoric. I mean, I don't even have copies of those, so I don't know how he has.
Could he please write to the U2 organization? I'd love to hear from him, yeah.
Well, perhaps he shouldn't be having these copies.
But I think the answer to that is there are a few songs before we signed to Ireland which went out on single in Ireland on CBS, and they are collectible. I don't think they're readily available, but they're certainly to be got. I don't know where you can get them, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't have any of our own records. This is the thing. People never give them to us. I mean, they give them to you, because you're a disc jockey, and
all round nice guy.
Love to give you records, but they don't give them to us. It's a shame.
Lynn Murray, Helen Murray, and Fiona Hale of Blythe, Northumberland has got lots of questions. I'll ask a few. How does Bono feel if U2 become the latest fashionable band in Britain, as this would mean them becoming wallpaper music to many people, which he so despises? I guess there's a certain ring of truth in that. Once you become establishment, people are looking for something else, aren't they?
Being in fashion implies going out of fashion. I don't know. It seems odd. It seems odd to me, the idea of U2 being fashionable. I know, I mean, there is no answer to that. There really isn't. I think even if you become popular in the sense that a lot of people want to buy your records, it's what's in the records that counts. It's whether you compromise in your approach. If we started cultivating songs to try and, to appeal to, the over 40s or the under 15s or something like that, that's their sort of thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily it makes logical sense that a band that have become successful will automatically become wallpaper music. I think bands like The Jam, really showed that it was possible to have hits and sell a lot of records and still not compromise your own personal stance.
Okay, what sort of music do you like then? This is a question that comes up in lots and lots of letters. Bono has talked a lot about wallpaper music and snap, crackle and pop, etc. What sort of people around do you like? Now, The Edge earlier talked about It's a Material. Yes, and Bono was talking about The Alarm.
Yeah, I like The Alarm. There's some amazing groups in Dublin as well. I think the whole thing's starting.
Things with a bit of wallop to it, There's so many bands that are sort of sitting back in their chairs playing nice little synthesizers. But we're really, I don't know, some music with a bit of dynamism to it. Music which makes you get up as opposed to lie down and go to sleep.
What is the scene like in Dublin then? I was there a few weeks ago, and there's a really very active music paper that comes out of Dublin called Hot Press. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if you read that, it's like bands that we never hear of over here, and it seems to be really vibrant. Is it as vibrant as Hot Press?
I'll tell you, there's a songwriter there. His name is Paul Cleary, and he's been playing for many years since we started out. I think he's going to be one of the strongest, talents that's going to emerge out of Dublin in the next 10 years. And he plays with a group called The Blades.
Yeah.
They're worth looking into.
Oh, yeah? Tell me, this is going over an old conversation with Bono, really,
sure,
because we talked about it before, about the guy who's on the cover of War is the same boy that was on the cover of October. He's older. And
cheekier, by the way.
Yes, Bono was telling us about this. And, well, just very briefly, for the benefit of those who didn't hear that, why is he sort of like the masthead of U2?
Oh, he's an emblem. He's associated with U2. It's better having a child's face on the cover than a tank or a gun, the sort of thing you'd expect with a title called War. It forces people to think, well, they're not just another band making, it's called War, but it's a child's face. You ask yourself, who is he? Is he the refugee? Is one of the songs, or,
Isn't he related to one of the Virgin Prunes?
Yeah, he is. He's the younger brother of the singer of the Virgin Prunes. We grew up with this group. In fact, Dick, their guitar player, or their non-guitar player, as they'd have it, is Edge's brother. And we grew up in a whole community.
So, does he use his real name? We can find out what his surname is.
Well, right.
Yeah, right.
Mrs. Edge, I could tell you all about that. I think you should have an interview with Mrs. Edge. This is something we should arrange for the future.
All right. Well, do you guys ever quarrel amongst each other? This is another recurring question. These girls from Northumberland want to know about Bono, how you feel about being the lead figure in U2, and does this not cause friction?
The lead figure. No way.
As it's done in bands like
the tallest, by the way. I'd like to make that clear at this point. Bono certainly isn't the tallest. And any arguments, we don't argue amongst ourselves, we just argue with Bono.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to play 40 next. And this was a track that you were keen on hearing. Why were you keen on this track?
Oh, because it's the opposite of what we're talking about. It is a very sensitive and atmospheric track. It was written in a half an hour. We were talking about 7 weeks. We're being thrown out of the studio. People were lying on the ground, shattered. Everyone sort of probably wanted to give up. And we just stood up. And at least I stood up. I think, Ed, you were still lying down. And we walked to the microphone and I sung this song. And it's actually...
I'd like to say that it's just one of the aspects of the band is the fact that there are times where we can almost do a song instantly. And in fact, a lot of the melodies to this song were for another piece. And it just so happened that something that we'd put together earlier on fitted together. It was like just clicked incredibly. And in the sort of excitement that followed, we just came out with this song. And I think it just, as just a monument to kind of U2 in an instant, I think it's good.
I have to say that, we didn't feel very instantaneous at the time. We didn't feel very brave. I felt really like giving in at the time. And it is, the reason we call it 40, because there's a few lines from Psalm 40 in it. I don't know why. It's not like us actually to do something like that. We stood up, and at least I stood up, as I say, and just sung it in the microphone. It's a great piece about the song.
All right,
listen to it.
Let's hear it now then. U2, that's 40. The Edge and Bono are my guests tonight. This is Radio 1. Time is flying by. It's 18 after 9. Kate Peters writes from Jericho, Oxford, and wants to know a question a lot of other people want to know, and I guess you'd be a little bit surprised that I hadn't asked you it by now, because we talked about your own names. What about the group name? Apparently she has a bet with a friend as to where you got the name from. Is it from like an American reconnaissance plane, U2, or what?
No, we wanted to call ourselves the Beatles, didn't we? But
that had been done. Yes.
Somebody thought of that. It was just a letter, just a number. Make people think further than the name, really, because everyone was calling themselves the this or the that. The Jam, the Clash. We were born out of '76, and we wanted to separate ourselves from all that. And at the same time, we didn't want to call ourselves Deep Zeppelin or, whatever.
So U2 has no significance. You just picked the name out of...
Letter number. Well, actually, the guy who designs a lot of our sleeves, or works with us in the design of the sleeves, Stephen Wickham, he was the guy who put the letter and the number together. We just nodded our heads.
Okay. As you are at this moment. Influences wants to know Edward Potter of Burley House, Oxford Road in Manchester. Another from that neck of the woods.
Well, Kid Jensen, I think, since we've met him, he's changed our lives.
Pretty influential stuff. I can
Sergeant
imagine.
Bilko as well has been a huge influence.
There's a lot of New York groups, actually. When we, coming out of 76 groups like Patti Smith's group, Television. Do you know that group?
Sure.
Tom Verlaine's Television.
Sure.
A lot of things like this. Each other, probably, when it comes down to it. The rapport between the four people. It is very much four people in this group. I mean, we are doing an injustice, even just the two of us being here. The sort of the blonde rhythm section, Adam and Larry. You know, Larry doesn't find it hard. He's even harder to get to talk than the Edge. But you know, he's well able to sort of talk up for himself. And Mr. Clayton's probably wandering around the city now with a cigar in hand. He's the one that's apparently leads the rock and roll lifestyle, or the closest one in the band to lead the rock and roll. Is this true? Well, maybe we should have him in here.
Once in a while, I think Adam likes to sort of wander
burn at both ends. Yeah.
Right.
It's great.
What countries would you particularly like to visit? Back to Caroline's letters, Caroline Stalker. What countries would you like to visit that you haven't visited yet? That you'd like to tour, play in?
We're going to Japan. That'll be a big deal. I think, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'd love to get behind the old Iron Curtain, see what's happening there. I just, you know, not many bands have managed to do that.
Have you played Northern Ireland?
Yeah, oh yeah. We played there about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's
because I know a lot of people in Northern Ireland have travelled to Dublin to see you there, and I was wondering if you've done the other thing.
It's amazing playing Belfast, playing anywhere up north. Well, you know, it's beyond words.
It was quite a thrill for us, and it was at the same time kind of quite an awkward moment when we were playing a song called Sunday Bloody Sunday. You know,
but the applause
really
had to think about. Really did, you know.
All right, we're going to. Another track is on the turntable called "Two Hearts Beat as One" from the album, and I know this is being thought of as a single. So why? I mean, you're strong on all these tracks. Did you fight a bit about what the next single was going to be, or did you just leave it to somebody else to choose a single?
I don't think we leave anything to anyone else. I think we have been fighting a bit about it, but it just seemed like the natural one to follow New Year's Day. I mean, it never comes to the stage where we say, well, you know, what's going to be the hit? It's just what feels right. And in the same way that New Year's Day was never going to be the single when we were recording it, it just turned out to be the song that we felt would be best as the first single.
Larry doesn't want to release singles. That's he's kind of saying, he's getting worried that it got into the top 10. It's making him nervous. I think he'd prefer to be. You know, I don't know. I don't understand that. I think it's amazing to hear your record being played on the radio.
Sure, but is it because of that you suddenly become fashionable?
Maybe that's what he's worried about. I just think we should be displacing a lot of the other groups that are, you know, taking up time in the top 10. I think it's better a U2 record be at number 1 than another record. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I say
you're totally committed to. I mean, I've never met anybody apart from Pete Wiley actually totally committed to their own music as you
Blood
are.
Brothers, yeah. There's a new breed. There is a new breed.
I think if you're not committed to what you're doing, then you're lost. You know. No, I mean we're not sort of naive enough to think we're there yet. I mean, there's a lot of growing to do. There's a lot of shouting that has to happen.
This is the first record.
But I think what we have is a passion and belief in you know the thing we're trying to do and where we actually are going, and that determination that we're not going to fall by the wayside, full foul to this business, which can easily chew up all the best intentions, all the best principles, and just spit them out.
Why are you so wary of the business, or why are you so, I suppose, why have you sussed the business whereby a lot of bands enjoy the business, a lot of people get eaten by the business? I mean, why have you had a bad experience? Or
I think, I mean, there's a lot of bands that would kind of speak about music business like some sort of piranha fish. I mean, we're not scared, we're not kind of worried about it, we're just determined that our ideals and principles will not go under, will not be compromised for convenience sake, you know, for any particular reason.
But do you have any, I mean, you talk about ideals, is there any specific ideals that you can mention, or is it just...
They live with the monkeys, you become like them. That's what my mother used to say. They live with the monkeys, you become like them. I think if we end up sort of, we were out, you know, doing the whole trip, I call it the rock and roll circus.
Yeah. We'd end up making music like all that, you know.
But, I mean, it is a cycle that you get on, or a roller coaster might be a better analogy.
I think that's a far better analogy.
Yeah. And you do gigs, and you release an album, and then a single comes from the album. I mean, do you want to break that at all? Do you want to stop doing gigs at any point, or stop...
Well, then you stop meeting people, and that's the problem. That's what we're talking about, probably. You know,
we did that to a certain extent after October. We kind of did get off the merry-go-round, but we're back on again, and we're glad to be here.
Rotating at 45.
But there is a new breed. You know, I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the name of the Jam's new album. big the new breed. I think there is a new breed. There's a new life to music. You mentioned Wiley, you mentioned The Alarm, you mentioned the other rabbits, I was about to say. It's funny, man. You know, there are people, really, who are out there. They're playing live, they're meeting people. There's communication going on. That's exciting. It really is. In fact, I'm going to see a group called Southern Death Cult tonight.
Oh, I'm going to play them in a minute.
Really?
Do you like them then?
I'll tell you tomorrow morning.
This is U2, and this is Two Hearts Beat as One. Actually, managed to chat away almost a good hour here, and I haven't come to, like, a fraction of the letters that I could come to. A lot of questions were duplicated, but I promise, as I usually do when guests come on the program, to give them all your mail, all the letters that have come in so far. I know there's a few more in the post room still, which I'll get through to Island Records for you so you can sort through them. Do you get a lot of mail? Do you find that you have time to answer it all properly?
Yeah, I think we are the sort of band that does get questions and sort of things thrown at us.
Confusing people, maybe that's our fault.
We try, but it's not always easy if we're not in the country at the time.
Because, getting back to the religious beliefs that you've had, do you ever find people are writing to you for advice then? People who might be a little bit lost in their own heads that are writing to you, asking you, and is that a terrible responsibility for you?
I'm probably the world's worst. I mean, we wrote a song on October called I Fall Down, you know, which is... I'm not really one to sort of stand up and say, hey, look at me. You know, I mean, I have an incredible piece in my life, but I'm so wary of people swinging banners and saying this and saying that. I reckon if there's anything you have in your life, it should be seen. You shouldn't have to shout about it. But so I try and keep it quiet, my own things. But people do write. Yeah, there are a lot of people. There's a lot of friction, outside the building, and there's a lot of people who maybe feel something in the music. Being in Northern Ireland a few months ago, some people came up to me and said how much the music had helped break down barriers in people who were maybe feeling it very hard for various reasons. And they said that the music kind of moved them in some way. And I just felt, well, that's it. That's all I ever wanted to do. That's all I ever wanted to do in some ways, to be able to move or touch kind of people. Yeah. And, I am having a great time, and I can't deny, the reasons why I'm having a great time. And if people write, I'll talk. I'm the worst, actually, in the band, because it's hard enough to organise to come to you. I mean, this is our second time trying to get it organised to come on the show. Yeah. But we do answer all the mail. We have an organisation called Sister.
Right, all righty. You did some dates just before Christmas, didn't you, in the UK? Like 6 dates, something like that.
Yeah, more than 6 dates.
It turned out to be more, because you've got a whole bunch planned. When do you start?
5 weeks.
Oh, we start in Dundee, I think, about the 26th.
Of this month?
Yeah. We work our way down through the entire country for about 5 weeks. It's the first time we've taken on an extensive UK tour for over a year. We're really looking forward to it, because I think so much has happened since then, and we've grown up, and we've sort of grown fed up as well.
All right. Well, will you be there? Well, listen. Are you playing London?
Yes, we're playing. In fact, there's 2 nights at the Hammersmith Odeon, 2 nights at Hammersmith Palace. That's 4 nights in London.
Okay. If I can get the time off to see you. See, my program always clashes with bands going on stage.
I'm sure we'll arrange a stand in. Maybe we'll get Edge. Maybe. No, of course we need him.
Yeah, need him on stage. Find somebody. If I can come and see you, I certainly would like to do that. And the album is out when? In a couple of weeks or next week?
Next week.
Next week.
This record will be on the streets next week.
All right. Thank you, The Edge. Thank you, Bono, for coming in tonight. Glad we finally made it. And I look forward to seeing you on stage. Here, Bono, is for you, the band you're going to see later tonight. Have you heard their record, Fat Man, at all, the Southern Death Cult?
No, hear it later on.
All right. Well, no, you can hear it right now, actually. We're going to strap you in the chair. You're going to listen to it right now, okay? Because it's on right now. Listen, thanks very much. And there'll be some people, I'm sure, waiting outside the door to say hello to you as well. It's our broadcasting house.
Yeah, and this lady who gave the Sweet records, it's amazing. We got a big pile of Sweet records for Larry, because he's into the Sweet. So, let's say hello to her. We'll go, actually, now.
The Sweet Lady. Southern Death Cult. This is Fat Man. Southern Death Cult. And Fat Man. What'd you make of that, Bono?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think there seems to be a degree of intelligence there, as well as the noise, as well as the hassle. I'll tell you later on tonight.
All right, okay. Well, here's a band that The Edge said he enjoyed earlier when he heard a bit of them. A couple from It's Immaterial, our featured band tonight. The first song is White Man's Hut, and the second is Cello.